डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello students, I welcome you to the Chaitanya studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. We are dealing with the lecture series of BBA in the subject of secretarial practice and office procedure. In this subject, there are 4 blocks, and from those 4 blocks, I am going to deal with block 4, that is the last block of this subject. Block 4 is titled as email etiquette, report writing and statutory books. From those 3 units, we are going to deal with unit number 1, that is related with email etiquettes. What are the objectives of this chapter? The objectives of this chapter are on your screen. What an email is, what email etiquette is, about the needs of email etiquette in a business and diverse etiquette regulations. Students, you are well aware with varieties of patterns of communication. Communication can take place in oral form and in written form. When you are communicating in written form, you have different type of options. You can write a simple letter, you can also send a message, you can also send an envelope which contains lot of information through courier or speed post, and you can also take help of the modern device called email. Email is a modern available pattern of communication. It is a short form of the word electronic mail. You require to have your email address, and the receiving party also needs an email address. Both the parties should be connected with device called internet. If there is internet connection and if both the parties have with them any of these electronic devices, maybe computer, laptop or a mobile phone, and if you have email addresses, then both the parties will be in a position to communicate about anything through email. So, email is presently, currently widely used means of written communication. What is email etiquette? The meaning of the term etiquette. Now, when you are writing email, you must follow certain rules and regulations, and these rules and regulations, the protocols, the decency are known as etiquette. But exact definition, the meaning of the term etiquette is conventional requirements as to social behavior. What is expected from us when we are somewhere in a formal situation, when we are with somebody else. So, this is called social behavior. So, it is expected from us to behave properly, moderately and as per the occasion. In the same way, whenever you are talking about email, so email has its own etiquette which are to be followed by us, which are to be understood by us. Properties of conduct as established in any class or community or for any occasion, as I told you. Business and workplace email etiquette. What are the email etiquette as far as the business is concerned, as far as the workplace etiquettes are concerned? Use a descriptive subject line. Your email must have a clear cut, to the point, descriptive, something that describes the whole content of the letter in one line. So, your email must have a subject line. Avoid leaving it blank or putting an irrelevant or general subject. You must not send your email without having a subject line. Subject line must be there, but sometimes people keep it blank. Don't keep it blank. This is called etiquette, this is called manner that you have to develop. Sometimes people write, but they write irrelevant things. If you write irrelevant things, your email will not be taken care by a particular department or by a particular person with lot of sincerity. Address the recipient by name to add a personal touch to your letter. You know it very well that email or any letter starts with greeting. So, here also you can use the name of the person in the greeting. Dear sir, and you can write dear Mr. So and so also. But when you write dear Mr. So and so or dear Mr. So or Miss So or Ms. So, then you are giving some kind of personal touch to that communication, because dear sir is little bit formal, but when you write the name of the person or when you write the surname of the person, instead of writing his or designation, you are giving some personal touch to the letter. Third, do not use all caps. That means in email, please avoid temptation of writing everything in capital letters. Sometimes to attract other people, in letters we use capital letters, but it is to be used by you for a specific purpose. For example, if you wish to write for writing heading, that's fine. If you wish to write for writing subject, that's good. But if you are using capital letters in all the paragraphs of your email, it doesn't create a very good impression, and that is why it should be avoided. Avoid overusing of punctuation marks. Some people have habit, punctuation marks are very important. Correct punctuation marks at right place make the language more precise, correct, but you cannot use them so many times. Suppose if you want to write an exclamatory sentence, so at the end put one exclamation mark, but if you write so many exclamation marks, it doesn't mean that you are adding certain additional features to your writing. In fact, you are making mistakes. So, avoid using punctuation marks in a overuse. Avoid using abbreviations such as IMHO. Some people write in my humble opinion or TTYL, talk to you later. Everyone is not necessarily familiar with them. We can explain it and we can understand it in a different way also. Nowadays, people have habit, and particularly students have habit of using abbreviations or short forms of communication while they are writing, while they are communicating with their friends, either on a social media or any device called WhatsApp, Instagram or Twitter. Fine, when you are writing with your friends, if you are using it, that's fine, because it is informal communication. But when you are writing for a formal purpose, then please avoid this type of abbreviations. And if you feel that you need to write abbreviations, then write only non-abbreviations. Suppose WHO, who? World Health Organization. Now, WHO is known to everybody. So, if you write in that way, that's fine. But if you are using some new abbreviations, then in the bracket it is to be written. But some people have a habit of writing too much in this way, it should be avoided. Skip a line when starting a new paragraph. See, when you start writing one paragraph, when that paragraph is finished and when you are going to the second paragraph, the easiest way to differentiate from first paragraph to the second paragraph, to create a line between first paragraph, second paragraph and third paragraph, a simple procedure is to be followed by you. Leave one line, then you start writing. Even in conventional letter also, when you are writing on a piece of paper, when you leave one line, it creates a wonderful impact. It does not only create a wonderful impact, but it differentiates the content from one paragraph to another paragraph. Avoid using tabs to signify a new paragraph. In computer, some people have the habit of using tab, tuck, 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 tuck. They do it 2 or 3 times to indicate that from this a new paragraph starts. It should be avoided. Leave one line. Different email programs read tabs in different ways, because at different places, that means in different computer devices, tabs are given in a different way and people use it in a different way for different purposes, and sometimes it does not convey the expected meaning. So, the simple way is to leave a line. Avoid using HTML in your emails. Everyone may not be able to view it and it takes away from the professional image of the letter. Avoid HTML. Avoid all types of additional devices of sending email. Follow the pattern, follow the convention, because everybody may not be in a position to understand everything. The main purpose is to send the message. The main purpose is to create the understanding. The main purpose is to convey the information exactly in the way you wish to convey. If you could do it by following certain patterns of email, then do it. Avoid unnecessary things which are not required. If you are sending an attachment, now students, you might be knowing the word attachment. Suppose if you are writing a business letter in a conventional way. Now, when you are writing a letter in a conventional way, and with this letter, suppose you have sent a check or a cash memo bill or any invoice or any pamphlet, any brochure, then what do? You attach it with a stapler and you mention in a letter that this is called enclosure. In the same way, if you wish to send anything in the form of attachment with this email, then what is to be done by you? Very simple, use the attachment. In every email, there is a symbol like U pin, like this is called attachment. You have to use that device to send any attachment. So, if you are sending an attachment, make a note of it and describe what the attachment is for in the body. So, that means suppose I have sent an attachment with the email, then in the body I should also mention that I have attached a check of rupees 5,000 rupees with this. So, that means a soft copy of this or a photocopy of this. So, if by chance the receiver of the letter skips the attachment, because of that he or she would be in a position to get the idea about the attachment. Some people are very wary of attachments due to the threat of computer viruses. Some people are always suspicious while downloading the attachments. That is why you must mention that this attachment contains this content or this information, because some people have a fear, that means they are always doubtful that it may be possible that this attachment might contain virus. Sometimes it happens that when you download any attachment, then some time virus also enters in your machine, in your system. So, people avoid downloading all the attachments if you are not sure. So, how to make them sure? Just mention it in the later, the receiver will understand it. Keep your emails as concise as possible without leaving out any important information. As far as possible, write your email in a concise form. And what do you mean by concise form? Write in brief, write in nutshell, write precisely, avoid unnecessary things, include the things which are must and exclude the things which are not required. By adding it the important things and by excluding unnecessary things, automatically you will be in a position to write your email in a precise way. So, concise as possible without leaving out any important. Try to write in brief, but to achieve brevity, if you are deleting some important information, it is not advisable. So, concise, to the point, very precise. Use minimum quoted text. Minimum quoted text, that means in your email, as far as possible, avoid those kind of sentences and quotations which are already uttered, spoken by other people, or you are taking some material from another sources and then you are quoting it. Avoid it. Either you send these things in the attachment or you send the link, ask the person to refer to that link for further information, because if you go on adding all these things, your email runs in so many pages, and this is not advisable, because I have already said your email should be very concise. Always leave a signature line, have a signature line. See, email does not contain any signature. It is possible to have a digital signature. Some companies, some authorities have the digital signature. So, they drag that digital signature and put it in the signature line. Some companies clearly written that it is a computer generated sheet, so it does not require signature. So, it depends on the communication pattern of your organization. Do not assume the person already knows who you are, but yes, your signature may be there, may not be there in the email, and signature, that means digital signature. But at the end, after writing complimentary close, your name, your detail, your identity is must. Don't assume all the time that everybody knows me. You have to write who is writing this letter, in which capacity the person is writing the letter. Do not keep on sending the same message to the same person repeatedly. If they do not respond after a few days, send them an email inquiring if they have received your first email. Some people have this habit. What do they do? Suppose I have sent one email to you. Now, naturally, I should give some time to you. You are also busy people. You are definitely going to respond my email as and when you get the opportunity, or as and when you feel it is necessary for you to respond. So, I have to give you some time to you respond. But suppose I have sent one email to you in the morning, I send same email in the evening also, tomorrow also. Now, it is very irritating for the receiver. So, wait, have some patience, give some time to another party to respond. If you do not get respond after a certain time, then maybe after 1 day, after 2 days, after 3 days, then you send the same email once again, because it might have been possible that the receiving party might have overlooked it and you might have to write this email again. Otherwise, don't go on sending repeatedly the same email. It creates a very bad impression. Use spell check and proof. Read and revise your letter after it is done. It is very necessary that you avoid all the possible grammatical errors as well as spelling errors. One wrong word or one misspelled word or a sentence that is not correct grammatically does not create only bad impression, but sometimes it also communicates a wrong message. And when a wrong message is communicated because of this kind of mistake, it creates a very bad impression, and sometimes it takes lot of time for you to recover the loss that you have occurred because of this kind of mistake. So use spell check. That means just before sending the send button, before pressing the send button in your email, please read the content once again. It may be possible that there is some error and you might get the signal of that. You correct it and then you send it. And revise your letter after it is done. If you find any mistake in it, revise the letter and then send the letter. Use threads. Threads, that means suppose I have sent one letter to you. Now you are replying to that letter. Now once again, if I have to send some response to you in that letter, then I should not compose a new letter, a new email. It should be in connection with the earlier letter, that is called thread. So it is easier for you to understand. Use threads. If you get a message from someone and you are going to respond, as I told you, do not send a new message. Simply hit the reply option in email. At the bottom you have option reply, reply to all, forward. So you go for the option of reply. It creates automatically thread option on your email. This keeps the original subject line with reference in front of it. That means one can easily understand that this email is written in connection to the earlier email. So there is a flow of ideas, there is a relevance of the ideas, and it is possible if you are following the threads. If you are sending out an email to a large private list, suppose if you have to send these email copies to number of people, suppose in a conventional letter we do it, that we write same kind of letter to number of people, and at that time we use carbon copy notation. Same way here also, if you wish to send your email to number of receivers, then you use CC, carbon copy. But ideally what the email etiquette says, use BCC, blind carbon copy. Now when I take benefit of CC, what happens? That you are going to receive the copy and other 50 members are also going to receive the same content. But all 50 members will be in a position to see that how many members have been sent this kind of message also. And from protocol point of view, it is not advisable. So it is good that we use BCC, blind carbon copy. I might have sent the same copy to everybody, but everybody will not be in a position to know that this copy is sent to everybody. Everybody would be in a position to believe that yes, this copy is probably to send to me. So the privacy of everybody is maintained, the dignity of receiver is maintained. His or her email address is not circulated to everybody. So you have to take care of all these things. To protect the addresses of the recipient, as I said, that the email addresses of each and every recipient should not be received by each and every recipient. Remember, most emails are never completely private, because there is always a chance of someone else besides the intended recipient reading it. Sometimes it happens that in a business house or in a corporate world, a one monitor, one computer has been used by more than one employee for different purposes, and it is possible sometime that your email could be accessed by another party also who has been using this email or this computer this laptop right now. So, we have to remain very conscious about certain issues. Therefore, avoid any personal attacks which are anyway unprofessional in your email. Avoid professional attacks. What do you mean by professional attacks? That don't go on writing the things which are not professional. Your letter, your email could be read by somebody else also, and it creates a very bad impression. When reading emails, treat them as if they are private messages. When reading emails, treat them as if they are private messages. They are private and we should read in that way only. So, we have to take care that our access of reading email should not be accessed by other people. When you are receive a message, reply to it as soon as you have time. It is good that you respond all the emails as per the priority, but it is advisable that email should be responded by you in a stipulated time. Some people make this kind of email mistakes. You must avoid this kind of mistakes. Omitting the subject line. You must write subject in an email. If you haven't written subject, it is considered as a mistake. So, this mistake should be avoided by you. Not making your subject line meaningful. Your subject should be in relevance with the content. It must highlight the main point wonderfully. Not personalizing your message to the recipient. This is not good. Avoid this mistake. Personalize the message by addressing, by greeting the person in a different way. Not accounting for tone. Take care of your tone. Be polite. Take care that you write, you select those kind of words that communicate courtesy tone, polite tone in your communication. Forgetting to check for spelling and grammar. If you forget to check spelling and grammar, mistakes will go, and once the mistake go, it is very difficult to rectify them. Writing the great American novel, email is meant to be brief. Great American novel, that means if you write your email very lengthy, if it runs in so many pages, it doesn't create a good impression. Try to write it as brief as possible. Forwarding email without permission. I cannot forward any email to you. First of all, I have to take a permission that I have received this kind of content. I am interested in sending to you. Will you accept it or will you permit me? Thinking that no one else will ever see your email. Don't live in that kind of world that your email will not be accessed by anybody else. It is good, provisions are made, but you have to be conscious. Leaving of your signature. Don't write your name at the end. Avoid it. It is a mistake. Expecting an instant response. All the time don't expect that you are going to get instant response. Sometimes people respond. Sometimes people don't respond immediately. Sometimes they have to consult the authority, then they respond, or sometimes they are very busy and that is why they are not responding. So, take care. This is called avoiding mistakes. So, students, today we have deal with email etiquette, manners related with writing email. Email is a modern form of written communication. It is a short form of electronic mail. It requires the knowledge of technology, it requires internet connection, it requires devices on both the sides, on the side of sender and receiver. These devices could be a computer or a laptop or a mobile phone. Both the parties, sender and receiver, require email address. Then and then email facility can be enjoyed. Your email should be brief, it should be concise, it must contain the subject line, email is a very economical and convenient way of sending and receiving messages. So, use this device wonderfully by following certain email etiquette and by avoiding certain email mistakes that we discussed in this lecture. Thank you, students.